One day, Brihadasva, a famous sage who knew many ancient stories, visited Yudhisthira to comfort him after he lost his kingdom. Yudhisthira welcomed the sage with deep respect, as was customary for a holy person, and said, "It's very kind of you to come see me when I've been reduced to poverty and shame. I feel like the unluckiest person ever born." Brihadasva replied, "Hardship is not new to anyone. When people face difficulties, they often believe they are the most miserable. But take King Nala and Queen Damayanti as an example. They suffered even worse than you." Yudhisthira's curiosity was piqued, and he asked the sage to tell him their story. Brihadasva then shared the long tale of Nala and Damayanti's painful struggles and how, in the end, they regained their prosperity. This story, which takes up 28 chapters in the epic, is one of the oldest in ancient Indian literature and is filled with deep emotion. It is like an epic within an epic and serves as an example of how literature can help people release their feelings. Nala was the king of the Nishada people. He led a large army, conquered many lands, and expanded his kingdom far and wide. He was known for being a skilled ruler and a fair leader. One evening, Nala went to the royal park to relax. He saw several swans land in the park, admiring their white feathers and graceful movements. He quietly approached to catch them, but all the birds flew away except one. Nala was happy with his catch, but to his surprise, the swan spoke to him in a human voice. "Great king, I'm glad you caught me. You may have noticed that I didn't try to escape. I recently saw the most beautiful princess in the three worlds, and I wondered if there was a prince worthy of her. I've finally found that prince in you. If you let me go, I will tell Damayanti, the daughter of the king of Vidarbha, all about you." Nala, already aware of the princess's beauty, happily released the swan. "I've heard of Damayanti's beauty, and I'm grateful for this chance. Fly to her, but don't forget me," he said. As the swan flew away, Nala stood still, lost in thought, watching the horizon long after the sun had set. That night, he went to bed thinking about the swan and the princess. The swan flew to Vidarbha and repeated its act. This time, Damayanti and her maidens caught the swans, each holding one. The swan in Damayanti's hand spoke to her in a human voice. "I come from Nala, the most handsome prince I've ever seen in the three worlds. I wondered if there was any princess as worthy as him, and now I've found her in you. You should let me go for your own sake." Damayanti immediately told her maids to release the swans. She asked the swan to bathe in the clear waters of the royal park's artificial lake and enjoy the lotus stems. She then asked the swan that spoke to her to be her messenger of love and go to Nala. The swan replied, "Princess Damayanti, I've seen countless mortal couples. Often, if the husband is wise, the wife isn't. If the wife is beautiful, the husband is not. Sometimes one is brave while the other is fearful, or one is optimistic while the other is pessimistic. In many marriages, opposites are paired together. But if you and Nala were to marry, I can confidently say it would be the first time in history that a couple is perfectly matched." Damayanti was thrilled by the swan's words, and after enjoying their time in the park, the swans flew away. Damayanti stood by the lake, gazing at the horizon, lost in her thoughts. She sighed deeply, unaware of the setting sun and the growing darkness. That night, she went to bed dreaming of Nala, the swan, and her tender feelings for him. Both Nala and Damayanti, though far apart, were equally lovesick. They spent their nights unable to sleep, their hearts pierced by Cupid's arrows. They lay on beds of soft leaves and lotus stems, their bodies cooled with sandalwood paste mixed with camphor. But nothing could ease their longing. Damayanti's maids noticed her absent-mindedness and how she refused food or drink. Concerned, they informed her father, King Bhima of Vidarbha. After thinking it over, he decided to arrange Svayamvara, a ceremony where a princess chooses her husband, for Damayanti, inviting all the eligible princes, including Nala. Soon, many princes arrived in the capital of Vidarbha, each accompanied by large entourages.